How are you? Uh, let's sit down. I am Darian Nichelle, aka Nikki J. Welcome to my YouTube channel. If you would like to donate to my channel, all of my information will be in the description box below. Um, and I will give a very quick um, description of who I am, really quick, and some of the things that um, I may speak on. Okay. Hi. So I am a psychic medium, and that comes with multiple ancestral gifts, psychic gifts, whatever we want to call them at this point in time in history, such as being a channeler, um, dream walker, astro traveler, astro projector. Um, I do experience telepathic thoughts, um, communications, I guess I'll say. What else? That's enough for that. um, and I'm a fucking warrior, like everywhere. So, hi, how are you? I hope you have a great day, and also the day that you deserve to have at this point. So, in this manufactured reality, I have been going through a hell of a transition, transformation, spiritual warfare, rebirth, psychic break, awakening, like everything for the last year at least, where it's been like obvious to me, right? I live in my own world for the most part anyway, for a very, 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 very long time. Just focusing on me and my life and my goals and my future, and still trying to be very present in the present, as well, and rarely tapping into the past, especially if it's not beneficial or relevant to my present or my future. I did grow up in the foster care system in the U.S., which is essentially like kind of like an orphanage in other places. Um, yes, and as that comes along with it, I've experienced um, all types of abuse at the hands of people that were supposed to be put in charge of me, to care for me, that said that they would, or fakes like they would. Um, I was introduced to Christianity at a young age. Well, I saw spirits for a long time as a medium, and then right before, well, when I was 9, I stopped, and then I was already um, introduced to Christianity because I was living with a German, I mean, a Jewish, I think it was Jewish and German family, I believe. But I know Jewish, and I'm believing it was German as well. And in one of my foster homes, and then I was introduced to it another way when I went to another foster home that was uh, Black American, in the Black American home. And my experience through the Christian church was very traumatic for me, very, very, very traumatic. In my introduction. So I went through my journey throughout the Christian church, and when I removed myself from religion and continue, like, my other journey, I don't really actually, I haven't really thought about like the God concept or God, as far as the God, any of it in a very long time. So I guess with my rebirth and spiritual warfare and everything that's been going on, it's been important for me to tap back into it. And so here we are. With that being said, that leads me to some of the things that I had wanted to talk about. As far as, okay, so I am a visionary, like a creator, and have always had the gift of creating, connecting with people, and everything like that, right? And one of the and coming in, coming up through my death, because in order to have a rebirth you got to have a death, right? So coming up into the death of my old self the last time, well, I've kind of like rebirthed and rebirthed and rebirthed again in this last year. Hi, Etap, how you doing? And so coming up, one of the things during my psychic break or spiritual attack, um, there was so many things going on. A lot of my gifts were returning from childhood, as far as like my psychic abilities, my mediumship abilities, and then there was also like an attack going on. So it was like me having an attack, and then like all of my spiritual team like activating, I guess we should say, to counter that attack. So all of that happening in my psychic space, my energetic field, my mind, my body. It was very chaotic. And I recall there being like, I don't know like how many people have the gift of mediumship or psychic abilities, and if you understand like when spirits is talking through you. Hi, Linda. And there was a point of time where somebody was like bringing judgment to me based off of what they felt like I had done to something. I think it's a all right day. How about yourself? That's good. Um, Good to see you guys are doing good. Etap and Linda. So, and for me, that was like really amazing because I was like, as careful as I am about what I say to people, like, as try to be as gentle as possible for somebody to like decide that they, and still trying to be respectful to my boundaries, to throw like any kind of like anything on me, my name. I do very okay. I do very what was I about to say? I try to be very careful with being true to myself and setting my boundaries for other people. And still being like understanding and respectful and kind and compassionate. Um, and so to know that somehow that wasn't returned, maybe in many ways, it's kind of like whatever. And unfortunately, my it's been a long time before my brain would like calm down and stop. Yeah, so it still is always traveling, trying to figure out like what happened, what went on. putting pieces together, and I'll just be like, oh, I wish you wouldn't. So today was actually a pretty decent day. So it was, and then like I just started feeling like very mournful all of a sudden, like, and there are times when one of my spirits try to speak to me, and sometimes it's um that's an interesting question. um so there are times when like spirits try to speak to me, and sometimes I will actually audibly hear them, and then there are some times where it's a feeling, and then you get messages like out in nature. Just I don't depending on how in tune you are to the earth, to the atmosphere, to whatever, to the spirit realm, you get messages different ways, and I tend to get them all types of ways. And I was doing really good, and then I just started feeling like a sinking pit in my stomach, and then like my emotions just started getting like a little chaotic, and I was trying to figure out what was going on. So I'm talking to myself, and I'm like, well, I'm talking to the spirit. I'm like, so are you like, what's wrong? Talk to me. Like, this has been happening a lot right there. Like, what are you trying to get me to see, or what are you like? Who am I being connected to? Like, tell me. And then I was like, or at least help me identify what we're feeling right now, like what you're feeling through me, like what I'm feeling. And it was like a sense of mourning. Like, that's the word that popped up in my head, like mourning, mournful. And I was like, yeah, I did a really good job with everything that I've been through of creating like a safe space for me, and a place where I could actually feel safe as I continue to live in this world, not necessarily the way that I want to, but the best way that I could afford to create for myself. And then like, everything uh chaos ensued, and my sense of safety and stability and everything just like was uprooted in ways that I didn't expect. So yeah, just trying to get myself back regulated has been very, very difficult, because the sense of safety that I once had, I don't have anymore. And so trying to rebuild that on the fact of being like not being broken, but sometimes feeling very broken over this time. Yeah, it's been a thing. But anywho, with that being said, I just kind of wanted to be like, cause I find it was like an unnecessary transition to anything, and also being extremely grateful for it, because that's just kind of like how I am. Because if something happens, I mean, you might as well try to figure out like see the good in it. Because why just whatever if it's happening. So one of the things that I'm grateful about is because one of my visions and dreams, like I live for my vision, like of providing safe spaces for children and youth, like my youth. Like, I'm very, very passionate about, I guess we can call it philanthropy work, charity work, and at the end of the day, it's just creating an empire based off of values and morals and codes of ethics and things that I truly see and operate off of myself, being a part of the system that like most people say that they come from and they've touched on, and then when they get to a certain place they like kind of like forget about it, right? Like forget it exists because they see all the shiny toys wherever. um so with that being said, I've always moved for like consciously, as far as I can remember, in order to be able to be a safe space for the children, for the youth, like anybody younger than me, and like my peers and stuff too. Like this all like section, like as a black woman, of course, I want to be a safe space for black women and black men, and then of course that means black boys and black girls, right? And then and also because a lot of them have foundations and situations and lives that like don't are not mine, that hasn't been my experience to most capacities, to like a lot of spaces. um my passion and my focus is still essentially like my heart is carried through the youth, and mostly the foster care youth, and like those that are forgotten, like I was, that how I felt. Even when I had like the quote unquote good foster homes, by the time I sometimes got to a good foster home, I had been through so much trauma already. It was just like I was very grateful for everything, and then like trying to figure it out. So it was good, and then there's still also the underlying thing of like I didn't ask to come here. Like this isn't where I'm appreciative, and also like I would have preferred like something totally different. And based off of like where else I've been, like thank you, right? Like thank you for allowing this to be as safe as a space as you can provide for me, with us being strangers with each other, and like as we get to know each other, and building relationships around that. And that's probably why I gained the code of ethics for myself, was like I treat people according to how they treat me, or according to how I would prefer to be treated. Like that's just kind of how I operate in the world for the most part. Like I don't really have to cause pain to nobody if they ain't causing pain to me. And then like if you do cause pain to me, I have to go, no, I don't do church or religion at all, Linda. Cause you asked me, am I churchy? No, I don't do church. I don't do religion. Um so with that being said, I know what it's like to have so much happening in your life, and to be uncomfortable, and like for people to take their bad days, their snap moments, their issues, their traumas, their whatever out on somebody else, like because it can be done. And like how people like harvest whatever anger, whatever issues they have when they come across somebody, is like, oh, we can just take it out on, like, here, you're an easy target. So I try not to do that to people. I try to be very kind and aware for most of the time. And like then it got to the point now where I'm like, hey, like fuck a lot of y'all for real. Like if it got to be like that, it can be like that. And just trying to find the balance, because the things that I want to do, and it's like so far I haven't really been able to pull off in this realm. It's never like really a balance. Like to me this realm is so mediocre. Like it doesn't have the capacity to hold anything in its truest, rawest, natural form. Like collectively, y'all or we have like contaminated this earth so badly that like it doesn't have the like the things of the world, the things of the nature of the earth that's like more in tune with the earth, are like spit out, like cause people prefer shit instead. Like it's insane. So um it's like the earth can't it's like this realm can't hold me. So when I'm angry, and like when I'm truly angry and it deserves the retribution of whatever I want to do with that anger, I can't. I can't act out on that like naturally. Um when like I'm feeling full of lust and like passion and like ooh, like it can't really, haven't really like that doesn't really, don't have a outlet for that for real. Shoot, when I want to create something like and put it out. Don't have the avenue for that for real. I'm like, damn, when I want to break down and like be happy or like go out into the world and like go and just do life, like it's like this place can't sustain life at all. At all. At all. Like, and it's so crazy because all I have to do is look around. I'm like, what the hell do y'all be serving and pouring all y'all damn time and effort and tithes into, right? And it kind of ties into what I'm about to say because essentially my heart beats for my future, right? Like I'm thankful for the present because it's the present. Um, it's the right now, and I'm in it, right? And also like, is it really what I want? Nah, no. And I always want more because I know that the vision that I have in mind and what I've been creating for a long time is for my youth, for those that for me, for all of the various versions of me. Hi, cute Smitey from India. Oh, that's so cool. Hi. And so my one of my biggest dreams is to create like multiple communities and actually like an empire, um and kind of returning back to what we should be coming from somebody that's been at as close to the bottom as I want to be, right? And that for me starts with my youth, especially like my foster youth, my unhoused youth. Comes for me is creating a safe space for them and creating a community around them. Like that's been my vision and my goal and everything that I've been working on for many years, like many years. Everything that I do, like that is that's the vision, like that right there. So my entire being operates in conjunction with that. And so when I was so today, like while I was reflecting on a lot of the things that I had, it's 2:41. Oh, you aren't too far. Is it, what day is it? Is it still Sunday for you? Um, so when I was thinking about, so when I was reflecting on a lot of the things that like I've been, like my journey over this last year, the things that I've been through, the things that I've been battling, my hopes, like my dreams, my vision, just had a moment of reflection. And I had a moment where I was thinking about how unnecessary religion is to me. Like, okay, the God that is served mostly here in America, um, and across like a lot of countries, like that whole energy of God. Nah. I'm like, I don't know why it was so imperative for it to make a um another appearance in my life when I had already once again said that I wasn't interested, like I don't know how many times. And it's cool because I'm like, oh, Jesus wanted out of that story too, based off of how it is. And I've known for a long time that has that story, that book, that Bible, like has no place, not even just the Bible, like that whole entity, that whole energy of God, like what people deem to be God and how they worship it. Like anything that's happening under that umbrella, no thank you. Like I don't want it to touch me and I don't want it to touch any of my children. Um because I'm creating like because I'm creating a space to protect the children, like they're my children. And so like Nah, he ain't deserve it. He ain't earned that. He ain't earned that right. Good night. Oh, it's 2:41 a.m. So it's like nighttime. Well, after midnight. Okay. Good night, cute Smitey. So like, yeah, that entity hasn't proven itself worthy of anything for me, let alone like me transferring that into like anything that I'm trying to protect, because I don't find it to be a protective entity, especially being here in the United States when I'm going to when I'm like, okay, technically we're supposed to be one of the wealthiest countries, right? Well, why the hell do I have to be thankful every day that I have somewhere to live? Because I've experienced homelessness more times than I should have. Because, like, no matter how hard I try to work, or no matter what I do or whatever I try to pour out, like, no matter what I'm doing for income, like, it's just technically, like, never enough to really go further. Like, it's always a trying to figure it out. Like, why would I have, especially as somebody that grew up as a ward of state, like if you took me from a space and said that they couldn't take care of us, and then like you didn't really do a good job, clearly, like you didn't put anything in place for me to truly be successful, like, and you put me in like just as much trauma and drama and everything else is like that. So okay, like there's that. And then as a veteran, like that's been in the military, like yeah, y'all don't do that. And then like so all these spaces that you go in and see, like none of these places like really take care of you. And then even being in like so many job sectors or career sectors in which the job is literally to take care of other people, and then taking care of other people, you technically taking care of like other homes, other ecosystems, other families, and like still like having to struggle to get by, right? Like, so this whole system in the US is trash. And then it's all under that, like all of the gifts and the tithes and the energy and like the effort and like everything is connected to all of it, like all of it. So ain't no way in hell I would transfer that bullshit to my youth. No, thank you. Like not at all. Like what? What are you proving? Like, hey, prove yourself. And I'm about to. I'm still on the same thing, but I'm about to sidebar because I just remembered that one of the things when I was one of the messages that I've heard from like some of the spirits connected to me, this have actually said like, no, we have, it was a lot of us that were waiting on you to talk to us about your journey because we didn't have the freedom to express and walk the way that you walk when it comes to family, when it comes to religion. Like I grew up around my family. I can't not have my family. So let me watch and see how you been like maneuvering, how you maneuver in life. Like if I didn't go to church, or if I don't claim this God, or if I don't subject myself to this, then I can't have this. So there's so many souls inside of that I was connected to, that like when I do my channeling or when they channel through me, that was like a huge message during one of my channels. And I don't know if I put it on here, like because they come, like I don't always record when spirits is talking to me or through me or anything. And so they're like, so just speak, like speak your truth, all of it, don't worry about it. Because there are those of us that want to hear this. And because I always try to be really careful of like speaking on, first of all, I don't care enough about it. Like I don't really care enough. And when I did, it was always pushback. Like it was always like, you say the first thing, people want a box. Like they want to defend, they gonna tear you down for that guy, for they beliefs. However, like whatever they connected to, like, ooh, they gonna drag your ass and like, hey, you get to a point where you like, you know what, y'all can have it because like I was just there. Like I'm here and I was just there. And then for me, a lot of times it was like, all right, I get it because I was just there. And so now that's why I am embracing exactly what the hell I have to say because like who the hell else would be able to talk down on that nigga? Because that's what I'm gonna call it. Like who else except for the one of the ones that had to fucking touch the filthiest of his shit? Like who else? Who else? Who the fuck gonna try to tell? How the fuck you gonna try to tell me that you want me to serve a motherfucker that is okay? Like I got the keys of the world, cause that's what we preach, right? Like that's what we preaching. I got the keys of the goddamn earth. Like I created the heavens, the earth, the goddamn world. And with that power, I am purposefully going to create lives where you have to fucking struggle. I'm going to purposefully create enmity between every goddamn body. I am going to purposefully create situations that create lack. And don't tell me, I don't be wanting to hear no shit about, oh, that ain't God. Like that nigga don't never have no responsibility. We don't never give him credit for the shit that he do. It's always like, oh God, well what the hell is he then? Like what the fuck he got so much power for? Y'all give that nigga a whole bunch of power for like mediocre shit. Like nigga, I should be able to have money. I should be like, you created it. You said we needed it as currency. Like I should be able to have some fucking comfort. I should be able to live nicely wherever I'm at. Like I should be able to roam the damn earth. I should be able to not be sick all the damn time. Like, so you telling me you got all this creation and all of this, and the first thing you start creating when your ass get on the helm and get the damn power is like destruction and chaos and poison and toxin and like death and destruction and slavery and child, like what the fuck is your purpose? Like the first thing you do when you get power is start destroying my earth and then like immediately throw responsibility to somewhere else. You don't deserve no fucking respect. Like what type of shit is that? Nigga, please. Good luck with that shit. Like no, because if that's the case, then like be honest about what the fuck it is. It's the damn U.S. government. Like them niggas or whoever, like European governments, where we want to put the shit in. Like white people came along or whoever you want to say came along. It was like, oh, we gonna give y'all a God and this is what the God is. And we gonna create it and make up all kinds of stories about how fucking long we've been in existence. And like all this toilet ass fucking garbage that whatever and everything in the greedy ass. That nigga greedy. He greedy as fuck without no damn return. That's a horrible investment. I ain't seen no reason why I should be investing in his ass. Like long term, short term, any goddamn term, individually, especially collectively. Like, nah, I got to a point where I'm like, nigga, why the fuck I gotta wake up every day? And it's me now, cause nigga, I've been homeless. So like, yeah, I'm gonna wake up and say thank you that I got somewhere to live. What the fuck? Yeah, like when I got a job, when I got income. Oh, thanks for a job. Oh, I got some food. I know what it's like to not have no damn food and have to steal food. Like for your siblings, that's technically your kids now. Like what the fuck? I know what it's like to like have to take care of somebody because somebody else on drugs. Like I know what it's like to have your fucking whole life decided for you because somebody else, like that whole damn body, like all that shit. And I'm like supposed to be, and I went through it. So on the other side of it, I'm like all the times where I studied it, because and then it pissed me off because I'm like, if this ain't a goddamn reflection of the goddamn church, like of everything that I experienced down there, like a reflection in the damn government. Like when you think about the church, how many people, like you in church all the damn time, right? Like the church, the state, the government, like all that shit is the same. When you look at it, especially in the hood, like man, we used to be in church all the damn time, all the time. Like you gonna beat my ass when I ask a question wrong. You gonna fucking threaten me. You gon' like all that shit that they did that was done. You gonna see like molestation, like all the predators and shit that the church protects. Now I can say that like one of the churches I went through to that technically that kicked my ass out, like for not listening. Yeah, what a way to represent your fucking God. Like that's why I be out of that shit. Like no, but like. Oh my goodness. I can say that they were like, hey, we know that, and this was when I was going to the fake Jewish church. I don't know what to call their asses no more. Like the Hebrew roots. Like we gonna do all the stuff like we Jewish, like Hebrews and Jew. Like man, what? Just okay. We gonna have a rabbi. We gonna have a. All right, whatever. So whatever. We gonna learn Hebrew. We gonna study it and all that. But like. We can't say we Jewish because we black, but then you got the rabbi telling you that, like, you the real Jew? Get the fuck out of here. Like, okay, but everybody on the journey. Like, when you getting connected to some stuff, you don't connect, you, whatever. Like, oh, the experiences. Good grief. So you gonna freaking tell me that, like, all this, like, at least they were saying that you couldn't take nobody else's kid to the bathroom. Be aware of where your kids at all the time. Like, and they addressed the fact that, like, molestation and perversion run throughout the church. That was addressed. And that was, like, one of the very only, if ever, times that I heard it addressed. Because, like, as a kid, I was in the church that had a whole lot of trifling shit happening in that bitch. Period. It was like a whole lot of that happening there, and then a whole lot of that happening there, and a whole lot of that happening. I've been touching on so many damn churches, and I know that I've had experiences because I do experience blackouts and whatever else, but I know that I done been in some churches and some shit done happened, and I just can't remember. Like, I can't remember. I cannot remember, like, and I don't remember experiences or nothing. I feel like maybe I've had traumatic experiences. And that's why I'm like, you can't touch me. Like, well, I don't really go to church. I ain't going into nobody church. Like, I used to be like, oh, I'll go visit, like, as I'll go with somebody that I care about if they, you know, if it's important for them. Man, I did that already. I don't got to do it. Like, I don't find it to be nothing. I mean, it could be entertainment, but then all I would want to go for is, like, the choir and that's it. Like, or in the praise dancing if they have it. And so when I say, like, what's happening in the church is reflective, especially growing up in the hood, is what's happening in the hood. Because when you think of, for my experience in the church, I'm like, okay, the church, money hungry, the U.S., money hungry, Europeans, money hungry, money rule everything. Like, how many times they gonna pass the offering tray around, and how much you gonna actually see happen in your community? Where's the transition at? Oh, we go probably where? Back to, like, the European pockets or something. Like, I don't know. It don't never really, like, transition outside in the community. Unless it's for, like, feeding the community, which, like, that's it. And it's never enough. So we got, like, 1,000,000 billion churches in the black community, and, like, niggas is really starving. Like, we don't have shit to show for it. So what else do you see in our environment over here? Like, motivational speaking. These niggas pay billions and trillions of dollars into the motivational speaking motivational speaking careers. Like, that's a multi-trillion-dollar industry, I'm pretty sure, because it all taps into entertainment. Oh shit. So I'm like, all right, well, that's a bunch of jobs that usually don't come to us either. And even when it comes to us, it's the trickle down, like, on the bottom end, no matter what. Like, compare demographics, shit. Oh, and I was saying, like, the fake education, because how many, like, no matter what, you go to Bible studies, Sunday school, and then you hearing the sermon, like, you go to, what was it, Bible study? You at church, we was at church all the time. Bible study, choir practice, praise team practice, What you got? What else you have? If you was on any extra boards, you got that day you gotta go. If you you breathe and eat church, right? Like, and every Sunday everybody's still going up like crying. You got the same people going out falling out their ass on the altar, like crying, bawling and shit. You got the same people running around. Y'all over here praying for a spirit to come through your ass that you don't know about. Like, how many of y'all already tapped into like spirits and like, I don't know, the other world? Like, come on now. Or any of the voodoo, like any of the actual traditions that probably could teach you some shit before you just start go asking for it. And the evidence of it when you get it is like y'all niggas being unable to control your bodies. Like, no, that didn't sit well with me at all, because I was a damn child medium. Like, I see spirits, and the first time I got into a church and they was talking about, oh, asking for the Holy Ghost and I seen what it was doing to people, that shit scared the hell out of me. And my first thing was like, no, thank you. I don't want that in me. Like, And so how many of the people, like, you go through church or all that, how many really studying the Bible on their own? And I'm talking about like studying, because nigga, I study, but I'm a reader. Like, I've always been an intellectual. I've always enjoyed studying. That's just reading. It's just what it is. So if I'm gonna be over here and you gonna be talking to me, now I need to be reading it for myself. And then I got to the point like, and I'm reading across all types of translations. I don't care how they give it to me. If they give it to me in a novel, if they give it to me in the what they call in the Bible, if they give it to me in whatever, like whatever form you gonna give it to me. If this my world, if this is the world that I'm plopped in, baby, I'm going in. I want to know, like, and I want to read other stuff in other languages. And I'm like, oh, you connected over there too, and this how it is, like, and this how it is over there, and like, yeah, I'm a journey through it. So it ain't a lot of people doing that though. How do I know? Because I used to ask a whole bunch of questions, and I used to sit in the damn church, and I'm like, all right, so like, I wrote down what you said, and I listened to the sermon, and yeah, you told us to go to, I don't know, 1 Corinthians, such and such, whatever. And I'm like, all right. And then I'm like, well, I did that. And then you read whatever verses you're going to read. And then it's like, really? Now what? So now when the sermon happened, I'm just like, yeah, when I read that ain't what I got. And also understanding that, like, we all different beings. So when you read something, when you read something, when you hear something, when you engage in something, we all get something different, because that's how it is. Like, based on who you are, where you are, who your spiritual team is, like what's connected to you, your ancestors, your interests, everything. Like what's happening in your life. I was very aware of that. Like, no matter when I read the Bible, like at different times of life, I go back and read it, I get something different, because I done read the Bible front to back, like on purpose, like making myself read. Especially the stuff I didn't want to read. I used to read it all the time just because I wasn't interested. So I'm like, oh, this the stuff I probably really need to study. Like, this shit boring. It ain't make no sense to me. Like, what was the point of this? Like, all right. So like, I used to study, and then I'm just like, well, the lack of true education on the God that anybody is claiming to serve in the Christian church, for real, to me, mimics the education in the inner city. Like, that shit is terrible. Terrible. We send our kids off to school and to church and to everywhere else blindly as fuck. Like, yeah, go ahead, because I had to go. It's a good thing to do. Like, go ahead. Let me go ahead and get you under here. Like, I'm like, did that nigga actually do anything to prove why he should have your damn firstborn, your lastborn, your middleborn? Like, anything? Like, okay, but I guess, like, we don't really think like that. And I'm like, and we be running to the forefront to damn give him a damn here you go. Like, here, baptize them, like, Christian them, like, all kind of stuff. Like, as soon as I'm like, damn, you're not gonna let them figure it out themselves? Like, why you think that's a protective shield? And you telling me that, like, it was forced on you? Because even when it comes to slavery, like, the stories of slavery, yeah, I ain't feeling it. Like, I ain't feeling it. And everybody's stories is different. Like, whatever you connected to, is different for everybody. Like, hey, a lot of us fought back and some of us didn't. Like, and now most of y'all ain't fighting back, and some of us are trying to. Like, yeah, so I guess it was the same thing. Like, well, I don't know how many times, because we living in slavery now. I'm like, all these niggas be just changing up the damn stories on us. Like, they just change up some details to have y'all stuck looking right here. And I could talk shit because it was me too. Like, well, I ain't never really identified with the slavery shit, like, ever as a kid. Like, the first time I heard about slavery, I was like, oh, no. I'm like, well, why they ain't just go kill them? Like, it's a plantation, right? Like, the description say, like, we reading, a lot of land, houses far apart. I can see it. I see everything. I saw the whole thing. Like, oh, no. Like, they should have went in, killed everybody, rallied up, went to the next house, killed everybody, rallied up. Like, now y'all posseed up. Essentially, y'all forming your own army. And, like, if you slaughtering everybody before anybody can get off, like, you got the element of surprise. Dang, ain't nobody fucking with us no more, and we got our shit back. Like, so I ain't really understand that as a kid. So, like, but I read, like, I'm very studied. Even if I wasn't looking at it all the time, it's just studying. Like, I was reading. It was my escape. I've been through a lot of shit. Like, books were my world, and I went through a whole lot of worlds. So, like, yeah, I read all the books, and I don't know about nobody else, but, like, Harriet Tubman and Moses spirits be talking to me, and they like, nah, get me out. Like, get me out that shit. Because who y'all paying homage to? What y'all doing? Like, y'all just like to hear about the suffering, but y'all don't do nothing. Like, do you translate that information from there to now? Can you take, like, the elements of the story and be like, okay, but, like, y'all like the fact that, like, Harriet ass got fucked up and then had to struggle out and y'all niggas wasn't moving. And I'm like, okay, there go another reflectionary thing. Because even in the Bible, like, y'all revere the fact that, like, Jesus was supposed to take y'all sins and die for y'all niggas. Like, y'all don't like to have responsibility for shit. Oh, shit. Get somebody else to do it is a goddamn thing. Every time. Hell no. That shit is funny. Like, y'all be cracking me up. Y'all like, nope. I don't gotta take responsibility for shit. I do. Get somebody else to do it. I'm like, I mean, technically on the quote unquote God, the God element of it, I get it. Like, hey, if I'm gonna be over here, then, like, here, like, but I'm like, dang, it had to be Jesus. Like, why y'all ain't give it to his daddy? Because, like, based off of the Bible that I read, Jesus ain't really do shit except for, like, be born because of that nigga. Like, and even his ass, like, hey, y'all don't make that nigga take responsibility for shit. The U.S. government, European government, like, none of them niggas. Y'all just be like, anybody else can get it. Is it like y'all that scared of that? Okay, whatever. So we got the fake education. So then there's, like, no return on your investment at all. Like, because y'all technically tithe. I ain't gonna just say y'all. I mean, I stopped. I ain't been in church for a long time. Even when I was in the church, like, I was an avid tither and offerer and giver and, like, everything, like, all of it. And what I was giving to them, I was making sure that I was gonna get back, like, 1,000,000-fold. Like, I'm putting all my stuff out, no, the why I'm in it and everything. Like, yep. So, like, Where's the return of the investment? Even if it's not in your personal pocket, what about the environment that you live in, that you investing in? Because like, when I took a ride one day and was just like, you know what? I'm going to count all the churches. And it's like 40 something churches just on the main street of like, I'm going to just say a 2-mile radius in driving. Let's just say 2.5. And I'm like, okay, where are the community centers? Where are the food guard? Like, why we in a fucking food desert? Why don't we have like no fan? Like, why we gotta go out far as fuck for great entertainment? Why we don't have nothing that represents the things that we like to do? Why we don't have no safety? Why is our like neighborhoods and stuff being like policed and swamped by shit that we don't need? Like, yeah, like, so where do we pour back into that at all? And it's like, we don't. Everybody that go into the church, guess what? They go back into the community, and then they go into the schools, and then they go to the daycares, they go to the hospitals, like all of that shit, all the energy, all the money, everything go right back into the same system that's opposition to you. But I'm like, I guess if you giving your op all your time and attention and your money and your resources, well, I guess that's what it is. Like, you just gonna recycle because you ain't gonna have nothing for you. And I'm like, we look at the damn hood and we see all the lack, and like, nobody ever ties it to like our repetition, what we are doing religiously. So our religion is pouring into things that do not truly benefit us, properly edify us, properly support us with infrastructures or anything that is needed on a basic level, like needed for us. Needed. How the hell can you be proud of being a leader under anything, any organization like that? Like, get the and then the time where you do go and like pretend like you doing something good and get some kids, like get needy kids, you fucking do the same thing. Like, oh, get my, hell no, my kids ain't never, hell no. That energy, that shit can't never touch none of mine. Never. I already gave up a sacrifice. Like, simply because I touched that shit and I touched the military and I touched so much abuse, nigga, I lost my fucking firstborn daughter. Like, period. So, hey, if that nigga needed a sacrifice for me, he got it, and I got her ass back. She like, all right, ma, like, he touched on her. The first thing they did when I was in the hospital, unsure of what was going on, like trying to get myself together, they like, hey, we gonna baptize her. Here goes her baptism certificate and blah, blah, blah. And I gotta figure out, like, how to get her from the hospital. Like, all these things that I didn't know about. Because when I went into my appointment, like, I felt her that night. I felt her at 4. I got up to use the bathroom. I was like, I think it was like 4:32 a.m. or something. Like, that's the time she used to be getting up. You know, me and my little witch. And I used to feel her balling up and me. And I'm like, so I had felt her. And then by the time I got to my appointment, that later that morning, like, I got an ultrasound. They like, oh, like, she ain't got no heartbeat. We gotta induce you. And I'm like, damn. So that was that experience. So we offer up our kids as a sacrifice. We offer up ourselves as a sacrifice. So of course, and offering up, let me even go further. We offer up our environments as a sacrifice. Because if you are taking materials from the goddamn earth, from Mother Nature, to build a building or anything, and taking the energy of anything that you are going to go in and repetitiously give honor to your oppressors in all directions, Like, you're not gonna give, you're not even gonna use that energy from the minerals and the materials of the natural earth to go inside and pour in anything that's edifying, that's going to pour back into your community. Like, it's just like all death, and like stagnation and lack and ignorance and like all of the things that we continue to regurgitate like all the time. And then the first thing we do when we have our babies, they right there in there with us. Right there with us. And you turn around and you looking like, so they say that they say that like church and state are separate. That's what they say. Church and state are separate. They really not. They gonna force that shit either way it go. Like, okay, they took prayers out the church, and then you got, oh, they took the prayer out the church, that's out the damn schools. That's why it don't work no more. Like, no, nigga, it ain't working because y'all ain't fucking pouring into the schools and the kids, and because y'all putting all y'all money in their systems, everything that's detrimental. Like, and I was like, do you understand the like schools, like their schools, the education that they gonna allow you to have, that you gotta fight for, that you gotta pour into? Like, everything is just like boom, 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 boom. And instead of anybody, when we get like enough money collectively to be like, well, I can't say that because we are building our bank. Like, we do have black banks and shit now. And even that, when I tried to go to a black bank and I understood it, like, I couldn't afford that shit, the minimum. Like, at the time, my job, and I got like I had a bunch of different bank accounts to not have no damn money ever for real. But I'm like, oh, when I get my money, like, I learned how to gaslight and breadcrumb myself. Oh, from the God that I was introduced to. And the leadership. Like, my kids ain't learning that shit. No, for what? Like, none of them. Nothing that I birthed and nothing that I, like, have asked to have care over. Like, I've been very consistent I've been aware, and I've been telling like a long time, my spiritual team, like, we've been on one accord. I'm like, so all my babies, whether biological or the ones that you sent to me, like, they need to be protected. Like, I was already telling the universe and the spirit realm what I wanted, and the most of them telling them what I want and everything. Guess what they doing? Walking my ass further and further away from religion and God and all of that shit, the whole institution, and like up out this fucking country, because y'all just like, no, me, and then like, you want to attack niggas that tell the truth? Well, okay then. Yeah, that's a reflection across the board. Like, what happened in there happened out there. Like, it don't just stay in there. Of course, that shit, like, it's energy is gonna come out. And so, I don't know. Even when you think about like the things that we can truly get and come forward, nigga, they like, oh, we ain't gonna give you nothing for nothing. Like, if you want to get some money from us any kind of way, you gotta have sports. Like, you gotta have something that's beneficial. Like, it can be sports, it can be this, that. When I was in school, one of the first things that went outside of like all the community centers, and then they start fucking with the parks and closing down like the parks and like all of the stuff that like anything that our kids have. And then when you think about it, like, when you pouring into trash, it's gone. Of course, you giving him all the power. So now, and then it comes to the point like our kids ain't even really safe to like run outside and be in certain areas because y'all niggas don't know how to have restraint with weapons and guns. Like, y'all get so fucking scary and irresponsible, and like, y'all can't be pussy. Pussy is some of the strongest shit in this world. So we just don't go with like, y'all niggas be such limp. Y'all dicks be so fucking limp. You ain't even got enough heart to go do some shit that you trying to do. You gotta shoot through the fucking crowd. Like, it don't even matter who get hit. It don't matter. Like, man, I need y'all to tap out of that and to tap into some other shit. And even that, I'm like, You mean to tell me I live in a fucking world? I hate that, man. I be promising, man. I be hating that them niggas ever decided that like they wanted to start my heart up as a baby, like. And I know that sounds fucked up, but I'm like, for my individual self, I hate that shit because I always feel like I gotta operate on a level that's like lower than where I really want to be. And this environment is just trash. Like, y'all will defend eating shit, like literal shit, and toxins, and like laugh at somebody and drag somebody for like not wanting to eat land animals and like wanting to eat like quote unquote healthy shit, like healthy food. Like, I ain't even gonna call this shit like healthy food, like the food that the environment naturally produces for us, right? Like, so she telling us like, hey, I can give you this, you just gotta like plant back the seeds and give it back, and like you gotta nurture the soil. I'll grow for you and I'll feed you in abundance without you having to slaughter all my damn other beings on this planet and like yum 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 yum. I gotta eat it, I gotta eat it, I gotta eat it. Like, y'all niggas gotta eat all the animals. You gotta kill them for sport. You gotta wear them. You gotta like all everything, like everywhere, like all of them. Y'all don't have no respect in this realm, like none, like absolutely none. Y'all selfish as fuck. And I be like, hey, why we still existing? Like, and I'm like, cause she's the mother. Like, y'all say mother nature for a reason. The earth is a planet. She's a womb. And y'all are destructive. Y'all are destructive. Like, y'all so disrespectful. Y'all don't listen to nothing that she tells you from nowhere, no way. And anybody that, anytime you get a message, you just pass that shit through the wind. Like, just pass it. It don't matter. It don't matter when they tell y'all asses that like they fucking up our animals so much that the damn animals have cancer. Like, the animals are getting sick. This planet is sick. And y'all just, and they just cut the damn cancer parts off the meat, off the animal, as they're slaughtering, as they're cutting it and preparing it, and just still like give you that. So they just gonna cut off the part that you can see and then sell that shit in the store. So like, you don't listen to the reports from that's come from the slaughterhouses or nothing or anything. Like, so I just kind of been like asking my spiritual team, like, well, telling my spiritual team, well, we've been through life together. Like, we've been through life, and whenever one of them come on board, whenever I get a new spiritual, like whenever I get a new member on my spirit team, on the spirit world, like whatever it is, they just like end up popping on. I got a new perspective. So I got like all kind of perspectives and stuff that I be looking at just naturally. And like I said, the more that I was tapping into like the things that I wanted to do for my future, for the children, oh, you better believe like the way that they was pulling me out of all of it, expeditiously, as T.I. He made it famous for y'all. Y'all wasn't really using it before he popped out with it. Hey man, T.I. be funny to me. Yeah, and that's me. Like, I'm all that shit. I can, what do you say? I can go out, talk my shit. I can grab a couple honeys. Well, for me, it's gonna be the men. I mean, I can grab some honeys too. So like, I can grab a couple honeys if that was what I was into. I can be intellectual. I can beat your ass. And like, I can still be at home to put my, and I'm a family man. I can still be at home and put my kids to sleep. Ain't that what he said? Well, I'm the family woman, and I don't have like none of my baby ain't in this realm. Like, well, she out there somewhere playing. Her spirit be traveling wherever the hell she be popping up. She be popping up through all kind of like little kids. Like, she be popping up through, it ain't all of them. She real selective where she gonna go. And she be like, hey, making her presence known. She like, you can't hear me. I'm talking to you. So, and I used to tell her all the time that I wanted to see her, and I wanted to see her the way that I wanted to see her. And she like, no, I'm over here, and I'm over here. And I'm like, okay, I'll take it. So like, even though like my baby is not physically in my presence, like yeah, I done put a whole bunch of other people kids to sleep. Whole bunch of babies. Well, I used to have bigger titties, but a whole bunch of babies done slept on my titties and slept on me and all that. Like grew up with me and stuff like that. So like I'm tapping in on that. I can do that too. And I'm just like, ah, yeah. I wouldn't even I ain't even interested in letting religion in nowhere near none of my babies. Like I'm not teaching them about it. Like, no, I mean we can study it like another book. Like that's it. Like they ain't, I'm not telling them that this is your reality. Like this is what you gotta have, or this is no. Whenever you read it, you tell me what you want to talk about. Like if that's something you decide you want to read, and we can. You tell me how it resonate with you, what you want to talk about. I ain't about to have nobody gonna be telling my damn babies that this is what they gotta do, or this shit is real. Cause I'm gonna try to find out if we pretend that if we go the other way and it don't exist in our world no more, how much more life our world can be, like how better our world can be, and out of these existence of what we doing now. That's what I whether like. That experiment I done been a part of already, and I'm like, no, it got way other aspects to it. I don't want none of that touching me. So, no, thank you, because he ain't like. And then it's supposed to be like it's male, so then you say like the patriarchy, and once again, like European centric, because European centric governments and everything love, and just our world now, because like. That's the mindset, whatever that yuck ass mindset is that like even a lot of black people done took in. Well, it's the oppressed, it's the slave mentality that took in. Like, cause y'all don't put up no kind of fight. It just be like, oh, let me not do that part. Cause I was about to be real ignorant. But like, since like when I was in Christianity, like God is supposed to be the Father, like everybody say the Heavenly Father, like the Sky Daddy, like all that shit, like yeah, not mine, like no, like not mine. I took like, and I told one of the pastors before when I was younger, like when we were talking, I was real honest, like yeah, y'all always talk about like the thing about him as a daddy. I can't do that. I don't really got one. Like, I ain't really ever had one. I ain't really, yeah. And if I had some men in my life that was cool, that could have been like a moment of a fraction of it in that capacity, like, they asses was gone. And when it came down to it, they wasn't really protective and like none of that. So like, I don't understand that in that capacity. I'm gonna go with friend. Like, I'm gonna try to just place his ass in the friendship category. Like, that's what I'm gonna try to identify him as. That's where I put it at. Like, yeah, daddy ain't gonna work. And then, like, tapping over into, like, the male aspect of it. Like, I'm not creating a male-centric, empire for my kids either, because for me personally, ain't no man been consistently showing me on every aspect, like from one man or two or three, as far as like my personal experience on like what the hell a God is supposed to look like in physical form. Like, I'm like, okay, so I got a friend right here that like make sure I'm good right here, and then like I got a guy friend over here, or I'm like watching God. Like, I see different aspects of, I mean, I'm not about to say that there's not great men, because I love men, like black men especially. So I'm not saying that like they're not great, but when we talk about like God, like the characteristics that like, and the behaviors and like everything that I would want to have modeling my children after, like not only in the spirit but in the physical, like a man of his word, a man of integrity, a man of creation that also knows how to be destructive, a protective man that like show up, that like all the time, that like actually pour into his children, that like make sure his children ain't fighting, make sure that like he providing safe environments that no matter where they at, even if they in all different clans, like they ain't trying to buck up on each other because they grew up in a different house, like that makes sure that like they financially and still like taken care of, that like make sure that he is setting them up for generations to come, like to be successful, all of them. Like, why am I supposed to worship something that's like, hey, I don't know how to make sure that like all my kids taken care of, right? Or he is like, I guess look at who all taken care of essentially and be like, okay, that belonged to them. And like, I need mine to belong to me. Because even in the Bible, he destructive as hell. Like, he don't have no emotional intelligence. He don't have no nothing. Like, he ain't fighting his own battles for real. I did admire how he would fuck people up over his though. Like, so when he being loyal, he being loyal. Like, he's being loyal, but he just destructive. Like, he don't really know how to sustain nothing for long, as we see in the damn atmosphere. Like, not nothing. No, he like to show off. He like to be like very theatric and then hide behind somebody else when it comes time for like consequences and like other shit. Like, and he your biggest op. Oh, he your biggest op. He is your biggest op. Because even if you cool with him and you just like, okay, you making sure that y'all whatever, like, that nigga be wanting to test you. So he don't even trust himself. He know he untrustworthy. That's why he do all that testing and shit. And then looking at the shit that he be letting slide and like, yeah, I mean, and then all the karma do become like, they do be catching their karma. Because like at the end of the day, who are you going to be as a man? So there's that energy, like, and even when you think about that, like, God said I can do it, so I'm about to do it. Like, all the power invested in me with the power of the God that I have, this is what is coursing through my veins to do. Yeah, so like, God as a male in any of that energy, and I don't really care what umbrella it fall under, because whether you're talking about Islam, whether you're talking about Jewish, whether you're talking about Christianity, what else is under that whole title? Like that right there, like all of that like run rampant, all have the same energy. And under each one of them, they destructive as hell to women. They all have not just a small facet, like they're widely known for their environments. And then even in that, there's still so many segments of the population that's in lack, that's in starving. There's always war. So he can't even keep his house together, like, peacefully. I don't want to be out there nothing that is creating purposefully. I don't care what you say. Like, you intentionally created beings to have enmity and strife against each other. So when you were doing the programming, since you supposed to be like over everything, or then just be honest and say you ain't got no damn power, like, or you got a little mediocre power, because that's the energy of like the U.S. If you ask me, like, we be talking about power. We're like, oh, we this, and this, and I'm like, so y'all be excited that like we have like basic rights that you should be having just because your ass was born in this realm? Like, no, that don't make me excited. Like, no, thank you, because you seeing like where other people don't. Nah, that mean everybody's supposed to be able to the best way that however they want to. Like, you had people that naturally want to, nigga, we had teepees. We had like our natural way of living. We wanted to be as close to the earth as possible on a lot of spaces. And then you even had those that liked a lot, a little bit more fancier, wanted to do different materials, like wanted to show off their art differently. wanted to create like a different culture, like naturally, like assimilated to different things. It didn't have to be a fight. It didn't have to mean that like I'm about to be up here and so out of touch and so high up and mighty now and so disconnected from my damn brother and sister that I gotta create an imbalance from them down there. And not even that, because like the ones that's closest to the earth, you don't even listen to them when they telling you it's enough. Like, all right, y'all should be cool for a while. We need a break. Nah, you gonna send in armed gunmen? And the fact that it's like places that let you? Nigga, why ain't nobody manning the door? Where is the damn people that's like, hey, you can get yours. Like, you can get it back. I don't understand it. Like, I mean, I get it. Like, I get it. I get it. And as for me, as a woman, as a bringer of life and creation, that ain't a creation that I feel like has to be created. And I feel like if you don't know how to, after having power for however long you done had it, if you don't know how to if you haven't figured out how to use your power, like all your mighty power and resources to like turn shit around when you realize that like you was losing so many at the gate, you ain't a worthy leader. You ain't a worthy God. Like you, and if you are, and if it's people that want to still subscribe to you as God, well, that's fine. Like, you ain't a worthy enough for nobody else to be going to war over your ass. And like, what? Like, y'all really want to continue to follow something and like pour something into y'all children to where twin brothers are like fighting and ready to like destroy each other? Like those the inheritances that we want and the energy that we want our kids to like be so introduced to and indoctrinated with early, like that we want to, the examples that we want to set up, the foundations that we want to set up like for ourselves and our kids early. And even when we read it, it's just like okay, like what's your initial emotion when you read it? Because every step of the way, whenever I got introduced, and even when I went back to a story where some shit was messed up, I felt it for the other person. Like, I ain't about to give you no damn pass because you supposed to be the favorite. Like, what the hell is that? Like, you can't be a favorite without being a bitch to somebody else? Like, you can't be a favorite without causing strife to somebody else? Hey, Linda. And even in that, like, there's an entity that you're saying that has all the power that set it up for you. And you can take it outside of the characters of the Bible. Like, that can just be an example. Whatever name is associated with in the Bible, you can just, like, switch that up. Like, switch it up to somebody that you know. Or actually switch it up to the founders and the government and, like, anything else. And then I'm just like, and how many of us have, like, named our kids those names? When you named them that, like, did you ponder on it? Did you think about, like, what inheritance they was gonna get? Like, what journey you was sending them on? I don't know. I think we've been doing a whole lot of stuff a whole long time without really following nothing. No kind of protocols for our own self, when you know that y'all say all the time that, like, it, and that we know that it's the slave master's book. At least if you gonna do it, shit, find a way to take your ass to Ethiopia. I would never, ever, ever give Christianity a referral. Ever. Like, None of that. I ain't never given that nigga a referral to nobody. Like nobody a referral to him unless they my enemy. Then like, yeah, go over there. Like, go over there. And if you just so sure that that's where you want to be, I mean, I'm like, all right, I can send you over to this place. This the one I trust the most. Like, and then, but like, I don't know if somebody interested. I'm like, hey, you might want to go to Ethiopia. Like, don't eat, just go to Ethiopia. Go to Ethiopia. They say that's the oldest Christianity civilization that's out right now. Like, that's what they circling around. That then like, yeah, go there if you really want to be involved. If it's really that important to you, well, then take your ass to Ethiopia. How many of y'all asses been to Ethiopia? Or anywhere? Like, did you research the Ethiopian Christianity and try to change some shit up? No, because y'all like this. So, I don't know. I be like, you can't get people to eat right. You can't get people to do what? Like, you can't get them to eat right. You can't get them to live right. You can't get them to think outside the box when it comes to, like, religion or spirituality or beliefs. Like, it's just, we gonna keep regurgitating the shit that make us sick. Because I'm like, as much as people talk about, like, all the toxins and sickness and everything, I'm like, do anybody step back and look at the medical set, like, the healthcare system as a whole? And I'm like, I guess I would see it different, considering that, like, nigga, I didn't start getting sick even as a kid until I got vaccinations and shit. Like, what? Like, I started getting cold sores as a kid. And I'm like, that was weird. Like, they came out of nowhere. And I'm like, oh, they gave us like a bunch of vaccinations. When we came into the system, like, they gave us, like, we had vaccinations. And then I was told that that actually cold sores could be traced back to the chickenpox vaccinations. I'm like, wow. Which would make sense, because I tell people all the time, like, your body is a living vessel. Like, anything you put in it is going to change the damn chemistry of your whole entire body. So if you got somebody playing in the lab and then shooting that shit in your body, well, who knows what it's gonna bring is gonna happen later. Like, and just because it don't happen, like, right then, like, you changing the whole chemical compound of your freaking something, like, based off of what somebody else that you shouldn't even be trusting for real. When you talk about all, like, we got all the information of, like, what they've been doing, we just skip it. Like, I don't know. I don't understand why we continue to just be like, hey, even though I do, like, I get it. We think that this is good enough for us. We think this is best as we can get. And, like, every small success we have, we so excited simply because we were told that, like, we ain't have shit. Like, that's the story that they tell us. Like, oh, we ain't have shit, or this is that. Like, nah. How about when we be told, like, I just don't want to do it. I don't want to do none of that with my kids. Like, nah, I don't want to do it. I already know what I want to do for mine. All of them. Like, all of them. All of them. And of course, as a black woman, I am going to focus on, like, the ones that would come from my womb, as far as, like, black first. Like, and those that preferably, well, my spiritual team ain't gonna let too much other shit come through. They hold my frequency, my signature frequency, right? Like, yeah, because if we start in a new embassy, if I'm starting a new empire, like, I needed to look a certain way. I needed to have a certain energy so that it can thrive way beyond when I'm no longer on this side of the realm. And it's crazy at how much opposition I'm getting from everybody from that. Like, but that's neither here nor there. It don't really matter. Like, hey. Because that's what I want for me and for my youth, which will then benefit like so many others. But if like people like no, then shit, no. Like, I know, because I'm gonna be out this bitch one way or another. So when I say that, like, my kids, like, there hasn't been enough men in my life, and I can't say one, like, that showed up properly as a father completely. That showed up. I mean, my brother showed up. Like, my oldest brother that passed away, he showed up exactly how I would expect for, like, a guy. And, like, a perfect example of what a man would be for me. And they took his ass out of here quick. So, like, I ain't seen it from no father. I ain't really seen it from a grandfather. And I loved my grandfather. I ain't seen it from a uncle. I ain't seen it from a friend. I ain't seen it from a lover. I ain't seen it from a man. I ain't seen it. So, like, none of that shit can be the example. Like, why I'm supposed to look at God like that so when I'm supposed to look at God as a man, like, as a masculine energy, like, what am I looking at when it comes to a whole? Because I can see fragments, and that's all you see across the Bible is maybe a possible fragment. Like, but I'm like, no, why wouldn't you create something where, like, the men just show the fuck up as, like, men? Like, because you can't replicate or emulate something that you're not seeing or that you're not taking in completely. However it go, like, I don't know. I don't even be knowing how to sometimes, if I'm completely articulating my passion and, like, everything that I feel correctly to people. If it's if, like, my passion and, like, my train of thought and, like, what I'm trying to put out, like, I don't know if it really be getting understood and picked up or, like, all of that, but yeah. And it's insane how, like, the moment that I touch that shit, a lot of my natural spiritual gifts, like, went undercover, like, got bound up quick. So they be stealing identities, because he always gave a new name in the Bible, and I peeped that shit a long time ago. I said this about myself, like, okay, anytime you doing a transition, like, you get a new name. Like, whenever you done became one of his dopest homeboys or whatever, like, he give you a new name. Paul became, and then I had wrote down, like, all the name changes that had taken place in the Bible. Like, when something catch me, and I was like, oh, okay, because I had been forced to change my name when I got adopted. And so I was like, oh, sweet, like, yeah, I know I'm one of God's favorites. So I know I was one of his favorites, and then, yeah, it was evident. I said it, and it was evident in my life how it was evident. And then I was like, okay, we done walked enough on this walk. I'm out of here. Like, thanks for everything you did. Thanks for where we been at. And, like, yeah, I don't got no problem with you. I ain't gonna deal with you, though, or you eat. Like, and my only problem with you, like, we had a whole conversation. Like, I ain't got no problem with Jesus. I ain't about to be going through you to ask for nothing. Like, what y'all talking about? I'm asking for this, in the name of, well, I got to do all that. Like, and I used to be like, well, I don't really need no intercessory. Like, I don't need nobody to go talk to God for me. I'm going to talk myself. I don't need no translator. If you can't hear me, then, like, you ain't supposed to be, you can't be my God. Like, why I gotta lose a native tongue? Why I gotta, you ain't strong enough. You ain't smart enough. You ain't adept enough. You can't do it. What you doing? Like, what? If you can't hear me, nigga, you came over here. If you can't understand me, When I'm talking, I'm supposed to use somebody else. Why I gotta use other people? No, I opted out of that quick. I'm gonna read it myself, and I'm gonna talk to you myself. So when I walked away, I had a whole conversation, because I don't really like to ghost nobody for real. Like, I like to let people know why I'm going another way. I was just like, yeah, I don't really believe in none of this anymore. Like, none of it. And I don't really want to keep looking and try, like, I think we done took a really great journey together. I'm just gonna tap out right now. And like, when it come to Jesus, yeah, we ain't got no problem. I just don't believe all that. Like, I don't really know about you. I don't believe all that, and I don't know. And then I done had a couple channel messages where, like, the Jesus that I studied and that was in that Bible, I done did a couple messages where that energy been like, hey, blah, 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 blah. Like, and he just like, all right, where the hell are we at? Because I'm out here and I'm looking around and I'm like, where we at? Like, what's going on? I'm like, yeah. Uh-huh. Yeah. This ain't the right environment for none of us. Like, well, not me. It's the wrong realm. It's the wrong time. And I'm kind of upset that, like, everybody else get to be gone and I got to be still in this bitch. Like, that just seems so damn unfair. And I'm like, oh, I had to, all right, I get it. Like, it had to be me. It had to be me as the oldest to be like, and as the wife, as the mother, because I had all the titles from the beginning, so I'ma just make sure I knew what I was. The daughter, the mother, the wife, like, all of it. Like, at some point, to see through all that shit while everybody else was still like, hey, I'm loving it. Well, all right, you love it. You love it then. And I think how preposterous it is for people to tell somebody that has been through the journey themselves when they decide not to go into it. Like, Christians are so totally disrespectful. And that's why I say y'all take on the energy of that God that y'all serve so wholesomely. Like, y'all go to war for that God so wholesomely. I'll be like, well, what did he give you? What did he give your ass as a reward? You gonna find out when you get there, huh? That's why that damn Bible tell y'all asses, everybody that say they know God, there's gonna be a whole bunch of y'all lined up to what y'all think hell is. Thinking y'all getting into heaven simply because y'all abiding by his book. Like, the biggest illusion ever. A whole bunch of stolen stories, collected shit, made up shit, misinterpreted shit. Like, yeah. And it still got us, everything has its place. Cause I'm like, I actually used to enjoy reading some of the stuff. I ain't really wanted to touch it in forever. Like, and it's always good discussion, like any other book. Like, way a long time ago, I was like, oh, it's another book. Like, this book is just holy and sacred to others and they revere it. And like me, I go another way. And the first thing I did was go jumping, like, not the first thing, because, like, I had to, like, go through my own cleansing ritual. And even though I was okay with not having to be a part of any religion, like, I don't gotta identify with nothing. I could just live my life and read and be open to whatever information that comes my way, like, on my path. And it was like a crucifixion. I'm like, oh, that's what it is. Like, okay, we can't be friends no more. You can't do this. Like, and this was even before I totally walked away. This is when I was just questioning stuff, trying to figure out whatever, voicing my doubts and skepticisms and everything. And making, like, I guess what people would assume was inappropriate comments. And I'm like, oh, okay. So I just held on to it. And there was a point when I realized, like, you know what? Just wait. Don't say nothing. Just hold yourself real close together until you are strong enough to, like, no matter what nobody else say or whatever come at you, like, you can hold strong to what you believe. Period. And that's exactly what I did. That is exactly what I did. Because the first time I said a couple of things, like, even by some of the people that I thought was close to me and held me sacred, like I held them, oh, when it came to talking shit about the Bible, like, they took that shit to heart. And, like, the one that had stood next to their ass, that had actually held their hand, or had actually helped them, or had actually been in their life, or actually done anything in the physical for them when they needed it, oh, they was right. They dumped my ass quick. Like, they came against my ass quick. They turned their back on my ass quick. I'm like, oh, this is a crucifixion. Okay. And what was the verse that they was using? What's the damn, kind of like being, what's the damn shit? Equally yoked. And I'm like, so simply because, like, I no longer subscribe to that, like, I was just in it, like, all this time I still been me. And because I said, like, you know what, I don't want to do this no more, I became a number one enemy? Damn, enemy of the state? Enemy of, like, ooh, baby, okay. And niggas gonna come after your head. Like, how quick do people turn on the one that they can actually see? Yeah, reflection of what you serve. Like, no honor, no integrity. What would I expect, right? Like, yeah, whatever it is, hold strong to it, because, like, that's your life preserver. I get it. And being somebody that grew up in the system and, like, used to being discarded and used to being abused and used to being hit and used to being, like, all kind of shit, like, you know, you just end up having to pick up a barrier. Like, no matter how much your heart break, like, nigga, I can't break down. Like, who gonna catch me? Me? And a very select few, if they have the energy, like, when they have a moment and they have the energy. So yeah, I kept myself sacred. And then when I said something, like, everything that I knew was gonna happen, and I was like, I mean, and more, but I knew it. I seen that coming, and I'm proud of myself that I didn't stop. I'm proud of myself that I knew ahead of time, like, to care for myself and to be quiet, because there was a couple of times where, like, ooh wee, and I'm like, ooh, I know that, like, with my damn sensitive ass, like, I heard I heard a conversation about me. Like, it's like I astral projected into a conversation about me where, like, somebody that I held dear, I'm like, did she call me a bitch? Like, did she say, like, that bitch getting disrespectful with what she's saying about my God? Like, and it was so unexpected, and I know that it wasn't in my face, that I'm like, I passed it off. Like, I'm like, no, I didn't hear that. Like, I didn't hear that at all. Like, because ain't no way in the world she would have said that shit about me, even though I knew that when I heard it, like, I'm like, she it's definitely something she would say. I would just think that, like, as somebody that loves me and care for me, it wouldn't have been something they would have said about me. Like, and I heard it. I think because I said something about, I had made a post and I said something about God not buying, like, I wonder how the conversations went between Mary and God. Like, since he dropped in and gave her a baby, Like, did you, like, hey, and then you don't really hear nothing about him for real until Jesus gets older. So I say, I wonder how those conversations went. Like, was Mary like, hey, God, Jesus needs some shoes? Like, was he paying child support? Because child support, like, supporting of him. Like, he popped his ass out and gave him and made sure, like, the person that she was supposed to be connected to knew to take care of him. Which ain't a problem if you in the community. Like, I mean, if everybody's on one accord, I don't know. Like, that whole story that way, like, missing a whole lot of context and information to me. Because if you just look about at the time of the history of the time when they talking, like, as far back as you could take history, yeah, she wasn't able to give proper consent. Like, it didn't read to me. Even when I first read it, I was like, well, did you ask her or are you telling her? Like, she got to feel honored now because you gave her, and this is as a kid. Like, when I walked away from Christianity, one of the first things I said to somebody was like, it's amazing that all of the questions and all of the shit that I was like doubting and questioning my innocent ass as a kid and like getting my ass beat for, like, were some of the same questions that I still came back to as an adult on my journey that had, and when I was getting like the same thing that had my ass walking out of it, like walking right out of it. And then as a kid, like, I just learned that, like, certain questions I was, like, certain stuff I couldn't ask. Like, all right, I just got to keep it in so I don't get hit. Like, can't ask no questions. You can't, and that's exactly what was said to me all the time. Like, you don't question God. You don't question this. You just, whenever I had a question, nobody knew the answer. So I got hit. And then it was like, you don't question God is disrespectful and it just is. And okay, so, but as a kid, like, reading it, that didn't sound like, it didn't resonate with me with nothing that Mary was really signing up for or wanting to do. It felt like a responsibility. Like, she ain't know she could say no. And that's how it read to me when I was young. And that's how it read to me again as an adult. Like, I ain't see the honor in that at all. None of it. None of it. So I had to walk through it to see everything that, like, I don't want my kids to touch. I see that. So I guess that would be why my ass is like where I'm at. I guess I made an enemy of mine. I made a enemy. Yeah. His ass was like, oh no. I can't let you run. I can't let you be my opposition. Like, you gonna do too much good. You gonna do the opposite. You might have the ability to tear my shit down. Let me not. Like, I can give you this much. Like, you put it in because at any point in time, you still gotta be held by, you gotta be bound by, like, you're gonna be bound by your word when it come to me, because I ain't just only asking you. I ain't just asking you. I already came in here with a team. I came through this bitch with a team, like, whether you can see them or not. I came in here with a team in the underworld, like, period. And so, yeah. And my spirits have said that to me too. Like, you gotta know that, like, we here. I'm like, yeah, but I've been up here for a long time. It's been real lonely. Like, oh, it's been lonely. I've been having to make a whole lot of magic out of, like, a whole lot of nothing. Like, oh, good grief. Good grief. It's been a time. And I've been doing it. Hell yeah. I've been living my life like it's gold in the best way that I can. Because it's my life. Like, shit, I got to live it. So if I come through that, I got to come on this side. So, like, I don't know. I don't really know how that's gonna work out, like with anything, because the fact that it's so in my world again, I'm like, okay, I ain't talked to that joker in forever. Like, who the hell? Who is you? Who is you? Who? And I'm like, oh, all my people. Okay, I get it. I told their asses I was switching out. I was going through the gates of hell. Which, yeah, like let's put this shit right side up. Let's tell the truth. Everything that everybody else was calling heaven, they can have it, and I already was gonna opt into the opposite. How you gonna try to tell me that all this is associated with that? And I'm just looking like, so you want me to go up there with all the serial killers, all the rapists, all the shit that I had to go through down here? You want me to do that in like Never Land either? Like, and Ever After, and that shit sound like a party? Everybody trying to get in? Oh, hell no. I'm going to go to VIP. You sending all my people to hell. I'm going to go straight to the VIP section then. I'm going to hell. You telling me all them white, all their ancestors is going to be there. All that shit going to be right there with them? And like, I'm supposed to fight to get in? Hell no. No, thank you. I'm so glad I got out of that shit. So like, I keep getting hit with like death. My ass don't never die. All the damn death attempts on my damn life, and I'm still fucking here. Yee, yippee, 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 yippee. What the hell? Fucking fake promises. That's a fucking gaslight. And the breadcrumb, like, oh, we about to get you out of here, psych. Oh, we about to bail you out, psych. My team must have been like, nah, not yet. We still need you up there for a minute. And I'm like, no, I'm tired of not being with my favorite fucking people. Like, every damn thing I done lost. Cause it came from me. Like, no matter what. So like, man, get the fuck out of here. I hate that shit ever touched me. And also, I'm like, it's gonna have to be a reward somewhere in there. So if you needed to make another appearance so that I can make sure. Oh, one of my spirits did tell me that. Like, oh, no. We not leaving nothing on the table. Like, we gonna get everything that we came here for. We ain't playing around. So I'm like, all right, my granddaddy be talking to me. I be having all kind of spirits coming through talking to me. Half the time I don't know who it is. I just be like, all right. I wish I could understand some stuff a little more. And like, I don't, because they were suppressed for so long. Like, and so that's just kind of like the thing that remind me of, I don't want to create a world to where like I have to give you lack. Like, I have to give you something, create trauma for you. Why couldn't we have a creator that created the closest thing to utopia for all of its creation as it could in balance? Why wouldn't that be like something that everybody decided that that's what they wanted? Because it's not beneficial for whatever reason. Well, it's a bunch of reasons that I know. Like, it's a bunch of reasons. It's not beneficial for everybody that is feel like they thriving over there. And them niggas, and I said that too. I was like, oh, this shit like a gang. Like, I said, it ain't never supposed to be like a gang where you can't get out. Like, when you get out, them jokers coming after your ass. One way or another. Like, I had a taste of your blood. I had a taste of your life, your essence, your energy. Like, you can't leave. I want you here for whatever it is. Like, I want to be able to use you for whatever I want to use you. I want to make sure that I got control. You gonna be right here. You can't go further than like whatever I say. Like, and I'm like, I was given one of the best examples by the home that I lived in, like by being introduced. And I've seen so many facets of it. I'm like, no, thank you. Like, there's so much that happens under that energy where I just don't feel like it's beneficial for, well, anybody for real, but it definitely us. Like, and I can see why it was created. I can see why it was created. And I'm like, so much of it, so much information around it it's fucking made up. And also, if it wouldn't have been forced down my throat, I don't have a problem reading it. I have such an issue because yeah, it was forced on me. And so, like, my issue with the Bible as a book and as a book and with the characters come from everybody else that touched it. Everybody else that touched it. Like, the indoctrination of it is my problem with it. The way that it's represented throughout cultures is my problem with it. The energy, the way that I see that whatever it touches, like, turns to crap, like, is like destructive, it's my problem with it. How, if it was just a book, like anything else, and it wouldn't be an issue. Probably for real, like if it would have just been a book that I picked up on my own, like any other textbook, and wanted to study and read and do whatever on my own, just like I was doing, it would have been whatever. But because it had to be such an integral part of my life and so violently that it opened my eyes to all of the violence that it touches, every single corner of it, then like, since it not only was just a book, it actually was a mirror of my life in this realm. Yeah, like, it don't really deserve that much honor to me. And I don't know, it's like some of my spirit team is a little sad about that. Because they want to give me some stuff connected to it. And I'm like, yeah, if you want to give it to me, it can come through another way. It can come through as just like, because I would go to Ethiopia, no problem. Oh, like Ethiopia is actually on one of my Ethiopia has been on my wish list since I was a kid. Like, I wanted to travel to Ethiopia, Turkey, Australia, the Netherlands, New Zealand, Hawaii, Fiji. What were some of the other places that I wanted to go to? As a kid, like, because I used to play with the map. I used to love the maps as a kid. And, like, learning about the different countries and geography, like, all I had to do was go look at the map and hear the name. If I heard a name, I was excited. I'm like, ooh, and I would talk about it. Because I did have like good childhood memories too, but and also when you go through so much trauma and violence, like that shit get knocked out. It get knocked right outside your head. Like all the stuff that we be thinking is funny as a culture and like we joke about and we like ha 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 like and we keep passing down like I'm gonna knock you into next week or like whatever little sayings that we have that we be thinking. Hey, Jess. Thank you. Thank you. Like all the little sayings that we have as a culture that totally like destroys us, and that's so violent that we just like carry with a badge of honor. Well, that's my reality. Like as a kid, you get abused so much, including like it has so much trauma. Then yeah, your head is gonna be, your memory and everything. Like everything is gonna be affected. Everything. So then it's not really a joke anymore when you the person and you hear it. Like, like, I'm gonna knock you into next week. Well, I mean, I do have memory issues now because I've been through so much trauma and been abused and hit so much, including having my damn head bashed into the driveway, the cement ground, like, repeatedly. Yeah, I bet I would have some issues in my head, like with my brain, with my memory, with my thoughts. I guess I wouldn't want to go back and travel too far back into my past, like to be able to pick up anybody or anything that I thought was fucking important or nice or fun or anything. Like all of that gotta go. All of it. Because what's worth holding on to if I gotta go travel through so much pain to get to like a good memory? I'll just dump it. Like I'll just leave it there. I don't have to have it. For what? Like, so, and whatever my brain is gonna naturally do on a scientific or like that scale, like in healing itself, I don't push it too far. Like, hell no, I don't push it too far. I'm like, okay, I don't go digging. I don't go digging because for what? What is my support for real? Outside, like, what's the support? It's like, what's the benefit? Yeah, to remember a face? For what? Like, to remember a person? To remember a moment? For what? Like, for what? Nah. I already have to deal with, like, being grateful and remembering great moments with the people that I already have held so close and dear. Like, so I don't got to do it for, like, other people and other moments and other situations. It makes no sense. Hell no, you want to stay in my reality, you show some fucking consistency. Like, consistency. It never really felt like it was much to ask for in life. And also, it has been something very difficult to ask for. Because I guess the type of consistency that I want to see in my life is just maybe a little different than most people want to give. Or they want to give it, but it come attached with like their preferences, which is fine because it's their preferences. Like, you allowed, and I'm allowed to say no. I done been through way too many, I done been through too much. So I'm going to be I'm going to hey, this is what I want. This is what I deserve. Like, and if I'm in a space, I'm in a space. And always being extremely, 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 extremely grateful for everything and everybody in my life simply because they are there. Like, when they there. When they there. Because you don't have to be there. Like, I'm in silence a lot of times. Simply because it's my, it's my reality. And if I gotta choose between certain stuff, like, I'ma just choose me. And even in the moments where I'm like, do I wish it was something different? Yeah. And like, okay, okay. Wishes, like, they don't usually come true as quick as it looked like in the movie. Like, I done tried the Dorothy method a whole bunch of times. That shit ain't really work like that. Like, I wasn't instantly transported anywhere. Well, I guess that's untrue because my ass is always somewhere in my dream state. And even then, like, I'll be like, dang, when is gonna come to my reality? Like anything. I've been putting in work. Niggas owe me money. They owe me a whole bunch of wealth and currency and a whole lot of everything. Like a whole lot of everything. Cause I was thinking about the fact that like, and that was one of the things where I'm saying like as a creator and being skeptical of like the way that creator creates. So like I have to like because of what I've been through and who I am and like what I want to do, like my heart, I have to be grateful for everything that I've gone through because now I have the perfect I have so much, a plethora, a whole library of information and knowledge and resources and everything and like so much that I can pour into my children, my youth, right? And so I'm like, okay, like if anybody had to go through it, then I would prefer that it had been me then. Like, well, not really, but I mean, you know, I went through it. So I'm on the other side of it. So yeah, it could be me. So now I can be able to protect mine from it. Like all of them that fall under my umbrella, I can be able to create something for them. I can have like knowledge. I can have evidence. Because even though this transformation isn't something that I would have normally been so out with, probably. Like if it was my way, I'm so glad that all my stuff is out there the way it is, because no matter what my children have to go through, like I want to make sure that they know that they can always authentically be who they are, like who they come in here, like all the people that have fucked them over, all the experiences that they done been through, everything, like I'm gonna be able to heal them, help them heal, and they are going to be able to be them. Like, nigga, you work for them. This they house, this they community, this they land. Like, if you need to feel like it's something, like you work for them. But even them knowing, like I want them to know that we are here for you, but not in a way to where it's like you being oppressive to somebody else, but and also knowing that like adults love to be oppressive over the youth, period. Like they love to bully the youth. Not none of mine, nigga. Hell no. And whatever you can give to them, you better be ready to get back from their ass, period. Like, you don't get to fucking be no bully to mine. Hell no. However you gonna put down, you better be ready to pick that shit, take it back. You better be ready to give it. Like, I don't subscribe to none of that bullshit, oppressive shit. Like, I don't care about your age or title. You talk to one of my kids a certain kind of way, you better be expected to fucking receive that shit back. No, I don't care if they 5, 6, or 7. And if they can't, they can't. Don't worry about it. They got somebody that can. Like, I'm going to be creating an environment of perfect checks and balances. Cause some of the shit that we had to experience in the system, and like, even if I didn't experience myself, like some of the other girls and boys had to go through, ain't no damn way. Ain't no way. You bet not. You bet not. Everybody is gonna be individually and collectively goddamn responsible for ensuring the total safety and comfortability of my kids as they heal from all the shit that y'all done allowed to happen to them. Period. 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 And they need to have the utmost freedom. That's what I'm trying to fucking create. Freedom. True freedom. Because a lot of y'all niggas still love to be oppressed. Well, you be oppressed when you go home if that's what you're doing. But like, I actually want to create a community. A whole lot of them, like I said. So when I say like, since I already had to take the bullet and I'm still here, since I done already had to have a whole bunch of clips loaded on my ass, a whole bunch of bombs, a whole bunch of everything, like, yeah, I done had to go through the whole gamut. So I guess like, might as well use that to benefit mine. Because what y'all haven't understood yet, it feels like, is that if you won't take care of all of it, then like yours ain't safe either. Y'all think y'all gonna get enough, you ain't gonna be able to get that far away. It's gonna come after your ass. Some kind of way it's gonna touch you. You can look at that through anything, like entertainment or anything. Like, you can't get that far from it. Cause how dare you try to forget that we out here and shit. Like, you can get touched too. So it would feel like it would be best investing in a place that if in a God and in a system that if you can be touched and you get touched, it's not encased in violence if it doesn't have to be encased in violence and lack. Because of lack. Like, all of that shit under that is created in lack and destructiveness and like the worst representation of men. The worst and the most mediocre. And they got scattered fragments of like what a decent man could be. And then technically they don't even go into a lot of detail ever. Like, but they go into detail about the violence and like all the destruction. And I guess you need to know your op. Like, you need to know you need to know your opposition. You need to know how they roll, how he roll. What he think about women? What he think about men for real? Like, what he holds sacred? What he hold honor? Like, how he think he can be? How he feel like he can get touched? What he thinks supposed to be returned to him? What's his values and his morals and all that stuff? And even in that, like, I done felt him knocking at my door. I'm like, oh, that's you talking about you. Don't leave you. Don't leave you. You didn't know. You need to. You want to. You didn't know until I came. Because I heard that. Like, I didn't know that you existed until you existed. Like, you taught me. Give me a chance to make it right. And I'm like, well, do it. I ain't got to give you nothing. Like, make some grand gestures the other way then. Just as loud and grandiose as you was about that, like, if you want me to see you so freaking awesomely, like, be grandiose on the opposite side and be all up in my life. Like, just like you had to be invasive over there, like, show your face over here, because I done proved what I can do on my own. So I saw what you did when you had the hand, like when you was introduced. I saw how I started popping off. Like, I saw what I was doing on my own. And so if you like, okay, I needed you to stop, because I finally caught up to when you, because I channeled a message from like, yeah, the me from that realm. Like, hey, no. I ain't fucking with this. You horrible. It's horrible. Whatever you creating is horrible. And so when he came down, he like, no, wait a minute. Well, you gonna have to show yourself just to like, all that. You gonna have to come just as hard on the other side to prove something. And it ain't going back into that. Like, you gotta change your identity to something. Like, I don't really know. That ain't my problem. I ain't gotta figure it out. I don't want nothing to do with it. Right? Like, as far as I can see, it's like, nope. Nah. Because how I got to go to work, which I don't want to do, get paid some bullshit, which don't cover nothing that I really want to do, and then you could tell me that, like, you provided for me? No, you didn't. What you provide? Anywho, I done talked enough. I'm out of here.